Trump has standing to think Biden's Autopen pardons are void.
All right, this is easy. This is a no. I'm definitely voting no on this. Sarah's abstaining from the vote for the record, but I'll go ahead and go first.
Oh, go first, and then, we'll see if I'm abstaining.
This is big brain 5D tomfoolery from Donald Trump, what we're seeing right now. For starters, in case you didn't know, over the weekend, the president claimed that all of the pardons that Joe Biden authored before getting out of office are null and void because he used an Autopen.
It looked like we had an Autopen for a president, and we would have been better off if we had, probably. But it looks to me like, that's a big subject. Did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants?
We don't know if the former president, Joe Biden, used an Autopen on these pardons, but we do know that every single president dating back to Thomas Jefferson in 1805, when he called the polygraph a primitive Autopen, one of the greatest inventions in human history, every single president has used this device for some, signatures throughout their presidencies. You also have to look over on Capitol Hill to every single lawmaker who has one of these Autopens in their offices. This is just a dumb take. It's hiding the ball from Trump. He's trying to get people mad about Joe Biden again because the talks with Russia aren't going as swimmingly as he hoped, or the situation in the Middle East is devolving, or the economy isn't magically back to better again. This is just more social media spouting from Donald Trump. And let's not forget, yes, the president has powers of a pardon, but there's nothing in the Constitution that allows a president to nullify pre-existing pardons, even if they are unprecedented and issued for crimes that have not been committed yet. This is just, dumb time from Donald Trump, in my opinion.
Well, see, I'm a nay with a little bit of an asterisk here, because I'm a nay for a different reason.
Okay.
One, if going back to the Autopen thing, you're right that other presidents have relied heavily on the Autopen, including Donald Trump in his first presidency, but there are legitimate reasons to question Joe Biden's reliance on an Autopen because there's so much circumstantial evidence that he was not mentally fit to be holding the presidency and that he was not executing a lot of the functions of the office of the presidency by the time we got to the end of his first term. So I think there are reasons to question specifically his use of the Autopen given the context. But when it comes to the pardons themselves, I think there are reasons to question whether they are valid. Never before has the pardon power been used as an effective grant of immunity for favored political allies. That's essentially what Joe Biden did here. Legal experts that were even sympathetic to Biden and to the Democrats have suggested this might not stand up to court scrutiny should the Republicans consider challenging this, because pardons have never before been used, like you mentioned, to protect people against crimes for which they have not yet been accused for giant swaths of time in periods of many years. So I do think there's a reason these could be null and void, not for the one that Donald Trump was truthing late last night, a little late night truthing.
That's true. And I do think, to your point, I think the way Joe Biden was handled by not only the White House, but his presidential campaign and then later the Kamala Harris campaign, it's pretty clear that he wasn't the same guy who won the 2020 election, let alone was vice president for 8 years, the previous decade. But that being said, this is not the hill for Donald Trump to die on. If anything, I view this as him trying to whip up the base into a greater fervor against Joe Biden. Again, the guy who we all have problems with, but is not the leader of the dang world anymore, right? Again, look at your own shop, Donald Trump. Get it under control. Maybe if you stuck to, doing what you said you were going to do on the economy, you wouldn't have to remind these MAGA voters that the last 4 years were pretty terrible.